And so, good morning, beloved community. If you don't know me, I'm Reverend Elisha Christopher. I'm the spiritual director here in this beloved community of Center for Spiritual Living Santa Cruz. I do use they and them pronouns. My ancestors immigrated to this country from Ireland, Scotland, Austria, and Holland, and also some of my ancestors were native to the Ohio Plains. We believe they are part of the Shawnee tribe. So thank you for dropping into that collective moment of breath and silence and visualization together. We're going to start to do this each week, just for a few minutes. And we're going to have our chant of the month from now on. So we'll use one chant each month, each week throughout the month, and we're going to allow that to take us deeper. One of the things I've been thinking about a lot recently is that our theme for this year is rising higher and growing deeper. And Gitanjali and I have been talking quite a bit about one of the things we've gotten really good at together as a community when we gather is rising higher. We've gotten really good at the rising high, of lifting the vibe, of raising the energy, of singing and dancing and expanding. But there's also the other side of that invitation, which is for us to grow deeper. And for me, that is to grow deeper into our spiritual practice, to grow deeper into the cohesion that happens when we gather together and hold our collective consciousness, our collective focus. The conditions of the world, our nation, what's going on around us is calling something from each one of us. And I know how difficult it is for me to navigate every single day, watching what's happening in this country, watching what's coming across the various screens where I'm tuning in to what's happening. It's difficult to hold the center, to stay grounded. But that's what we're going to come together each and every week to cultivate, is that sense of groundedness, that sense of power, that sense of truth, that sense of community and our common unity. Because this is where our power lies. Our power lies in the truth that there's something more about who we are that wants to be expressed. And I've been teaching our Essential Ernest Holmes class, which a number of the folks here are participating in, where we're studying the works of Ernest Holmes, who's the founder of Science of Mind and the New Thought movement. And you know, I've always seen Ernest Holmes as this, guy in the distant past who was, sitting in the, mountain of white privilege in, the mythical heyday of America and coming up with all these beautiful ideas about how the universe works. And in reading this work in the last couple of weeks, I feel like I'm refamiliarizing myself with our teaching, with the philosophy, with the founder. And one of the things I realized about Ernest Holmes, he was born in 1887 and died in 1960. He published the first version of the Science of Mind textbook in 1926, and then the revised version, which is our main text, in 1938. Ernest Holmes lived through World War I, World War II, and the Korean War. He was synthesizing and organizing the textbook during the Great Depression. He witnessed the rise and the fall of Hitler and the Nazis in Europe. He died right at the beginning of the Civil Rights Movement. And something flipped for me, because I suddenly realized that Ernest Holmes was living through a time very similar to the time that we're living through. Times of major transformation and upheaval, times of major rearrange, times of great shifts in power. And at the same time, do you know what else was happening? Albert Einstein was bringing forth the theory of relativity. Watson and Crick discovered DNA. All sorts of new ideas were bubbling up at that time. And what else came through? Hazrat Inayat Khan, who founded the Universal Sufism, the Unity movements, right? All sorts of belief systems and ideas started to come forward about our oneness, about the power of our consciousness, about how we are here as conscious creators to bring our contributions to the world. And I realized that Ernest Holmes wasn't finding these ideas in a vacuum. He was finding these ideas in a remarkable time of transformation, and began to see that there are powers, there are principles, there are spiritual truths that are at work in the world, and that it is thought that is creating all of this, right? And for me, there's something that's been waking up about the power of this philosophy. And one of the things Ernest Holmes writes in the book, The Essential Ernest Holmes, is he said, there's a big misconception about what this philosophy is. And he says there's a common misunderstanding that says we're a people who say that things are good when they're not, that say that we're healthy when we're sick, that say that all is well when it's falling apart. And he says that is not the teaching. He says the teaching is to realize and remember that down below the surface level of existence, beyond and behind all of the conditions, below and beneath everything that's happening, there is a universal substance. There's a consciousness and a power, a current that's at work in all of it. Right? There's a difference there. Right? He's saying we don't just look at the bad and call it good. But we recognize that regardless of what's happening, there's something that we can't see that's at work. Can you feel the difference? Right? And so let's just take this realization that regardless of what we see, regardless of the conditions, regardless of all the things that seem to be falling apart and coming at us, there is something invisible at work. There is something underneath the surface level of all of this stuff that is here for us. That the current of evolution is always at work. That the expansion of the universe is always happening. And maybe just sometimes it's the conditions, it's the things that are wrong, it's the things that are difficult, it's the things that are broken that wake something up within us that wasn't paying attention before. Can you feel that? I've been thinking about this idea about how we talk often about transformation, and many of us love the metaphor of the butterfly going into the caterpillar, goes into the butterfly, becomes a chrysalis, right? It has to be the right season of the year. The external conditions, the temperature, the weather, the this and that, the light, all of those things have to be available for the external conditions to call the caterpillar to go into the chrysalis. And then it does its process in the darkness, becomes the goo, the meltdown, all of that. And then again, it's waiting for something on the outside to say it's time to emerge. And so what if all the conditions of the world, everything that's happening in our country, all that's unfolding on the planet, all that is feeling like the chaos and the breakdown and the overwhelm, what if those are the necessary conditions that are calling each one of us into a deeper place within ourselves? Right? Because I have never in my life, in the 42 years that I've been here, my birthday was last Tuesday, in the 42 years that I've been here on this planet as this person, I have never seen a movement in the United States like happened yesterday. By the time the evening came around and I opened up my Instagram, the only thing that was there sliding for minutes was videos and videos and videos and pictures and pictures and pictures of millions of people rising up, speaking out, coming together, and bringing their collective light together to shine a brighter truth than the darkness that is hovering around us. So their conditions have called forth an activation. What's happening is waking us up. So what does it look like for us to begin to take that in a little bit deeper and start to recognize that there's something within each one of us that is calling us deeper, something within us that is seeking to awaken, and that each one of us is here on purpose, with purpose, for a purpose, for this moment right now. This is the moment you came here to be on the planet. I don't care how new you are or how long you've been here on planet Earth, this is your moment. Everything up until now has been getting us ready for this moment of now. Because now is all we ever have, but this particular moment of now is the moment. So what do we do with it? And I'm just inviting us ever deeper into our collective practice of not only rising higher and rising above, but dropping ever deeper into the spiritual truths that are here for us. Because I know for so many of us, when we come together in this space, we leave a little bit brighter. Sometimes we may walk in overwhelmed by the pain of the world and all the things that have unfolded over the last week, but we come into this space and we get lit up. We get reminded of the truth of who we are. We get to be in the love and reflect that back and forth. And what I know is what I witness each and every week is each and every person walks out of this room shining a little bit brighter, believing in their own personal power, believing that there's a possible future in front of us, which is the one that we want to see. So we get recharged, we get plugged back into our truth so that then we can go out and shine that light everywhere we go, even if we feel like we're giving it away every time we interact with someone or something. Guess what? There's a well you can come back to get charged up again. So we're in this ebb and flow of cultivating the truth, the light, the way, the more of us, shining it out into the world, giving it to everyone who will receive it, and then coming back to the place where we get filled up again. And it's not just here when we're together. Your spiritual practices are the things that fill you up. Whatever it is for you. I know a big part of it is coming together. But also we, each and every one of us, have to commit to our own practice of grounding, our own practice of cultivating our light. We're like polishing the mirror so that when anyone and everyone we interact with has the opportunity to see the light reflected back in themselves. So we are the love lights, right? We are the illumined ones if we so choose to be. And we are moving through a collective great moment of darkness, but I believe it's not just a dark night of the soul. It is a preparation for a new dawn. That as we move ever deeper into the darkness, we can know that the light is on its way. The descent does not continue forever. There's always an ebb and a flow. And the moral arc of the universe may be long, but we know that it bends towards justice. Absolutely. But we might have to be the ones to bend it, to push that curve. We get to choose. We get to choose what happens. Our consciousness is directing, and our collective consciousness is waking up, and we are choosing something new, and everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is ours now. What if absolutely everything that is unfolding in this world, in this nation, in this community, and in each one of our lives, what if everything that's happening right now is the necessary ingredients for our awakening? I know we all think like waking up is going to be this beautiful, light-filled experience. What if waking up means being shaken awake? Having the veil ripped off of our eyes so that we no longer see illusion, but we see the truth. So the cosmic Band-Aid is being ripped off, but it's for our healing. So that's our story. We're going to continue to rise higher. But at the very same time, we are going to keep growing deeper so that our roots reach down deep and so that we become the activity, the greening of life, sharing our gifts with all of creation. Take a deep breath in. And let's drop in one more time, a little deeper. So let's take another deep breath. And as we breathe, I remind each one of us that we are being breathed by something greater than ourselves. For there is a great seamlessness, a great wholeness, a great oneness that permeates absolutely everything. There is a great circle that I call God, whose center is everywhere and whose circumference is nowhere. Because this great circle that I call oneness holds absolutely all that there is. And that means that each one of us is part of that great seamlessness. Each one of us is part of that great wholeness. Each one of us is shining a bit of the infinite light. Each one of us is expressing the eternal life for just a moment. And then the next, and then the next. So today our invitation is to drop ever deeper into our sense of connection with each other as community, with that spirit that is living us, with the earth life. And so let's breathe again, dropping deeper with every breath, remembering that we are here to awaken. And that everything, absolutely everything that unfolds in this universe and on this world happens for us. Even that which doesn't look like it is here for our awakening. Because what I know is that there is something beneath the surface level of existence that is a current that is moving always towards the good, always towards evolution, always towards the expansion. And that, yes, sometimes we ebb and flow, we rise and fall, but the arc leads towards the more. So let us know that everything necessary for each one of our awakening, everything necessary for each one of us to see the truth, everything necessary for us to take the veil off of our eyes and move through the illusion and awaken to something more, everything necessary is making itself available to us right now. And so we allow the conditions to wake us up, to shake us up, to open us to the more. And so we rise high, we grow deeper. And at the same time, we are looking and leaning and dreaming of a possible future. Knowing that the thoughts, the choices, the actions that we make today are seeds of possibility. And our practice is the cultivation and the nurturing of those seeds so that they may sprout and become reality, become the healing, become the unity revealed. And so I'm just grateful for this beloved community and the invitation for us to continuously come together, to shine a little brighter, to lift each other up, and then to spread that love light out everywhere we go. So I'm grateful. I'm grateful for all that's unfolding right now because I know that there's something more at work. And I live in expectancy of that something more making itself known. And so I'll surrender to what is. Just as I surrender to the breath, remembering that I'm being breathed, I remember that I'm being lived by a power for good that is greater than I am. Let each one of us remember that it is the Spirit of the living God, it is the power of evolution, it is the consciousness of the universe that is coursing through us. Let us get ourselves out of the way and open up for each one of us to be a channel for creation, a channel for good, a channel for possibility, a channel for justice, a channel for love. So we open, we allow, We let go and let God. And anchor this time of practice and listening and prayer by saying together with me, and so it is.